parenting. I keep saying no more. I'm not going to do anymore, but that's just who I am. So I have been doing this, parenting children, for a little over 45 years. And it may sound cruel to some other people, and I've come face to face with it with my own children. I didn't want any children. I wanted to go to college. I wanted to go to Howard University. I wanted to study law. I wanted to be an international judge. But he said, no, you're going to go down this path. I'm going to put you through this because I need to pull you through that. So wherever he sends me, I'm going to go because he hasn't been wrong yet. And I know not to question him. But I do have some questions, and that might get me into trouble just saying I have some questions. But I just need answers to certain things. I'm okay with that now. Before I was a little upset. Yes, I'm going to admit it. I was upset because I was saying, why me? And I had to turn around and look and say, well, why not you? Because if it was the lotto, I would say, well, why me? No, I wouldn't. Well, I hit the lotto with what I have now, and that's God as my favor. So I pushed through. I've written other books since then. I co-authored books with our producer here, and included in one of those books is my mother. She's 100 now, but she was, I believe, 97 when she did her part in the book. And that book has just made me so proud that I was able to share a moment with my mom and to be able to do something with her and just to let her know that life doesn't stop because you're aging. And she had a lot to say. Even when the book was done, she still had a lot to say. And to this day, she still has a lot to say. So I take it with a grain of salt because I'm learning a lot and I'm picking up a lot. And as a child, I should be ashamed to say this, but there's a story behind it. When you're growing up, you want to be like all your other friends. You want to have the things that they have. You want to do the things that they can do. But because my mother is old enough to be my grandmother, she raised me that way. So I didn't have access to certain things. And with her sisters and my aunts, I listened to the way that they told me I should be. And that's just the way that I grew up. And I still wanted to get my hair permed like everybody else and didn't have that straightening comb where it was catching the back of your kitchen and stuff like that. I didn't want that. I wanted what everybody else wanted. I wanted the clothes that they was wearing, the fashions and stuff that they was wearing, but I was kept as a little girl. And there was nothing wrong with that. But as I grew up and I wrote my book in my mother's house, I realized that I had the best of both worlds. I have a woman who's old enough to be my grandmother. She's my mother, and she's also my best friend. And I didn't realize that until I became an adult. When I say an adult, a traditional adult, not somebody that's 21 to 30. I'm talking about I was in my 40s when I realized that this should have come a lot sooner. So I enjoyed writing that book. Others did not like some of the things that was in that book, but I had to do that for me. It was for me. It was therapeutic, and I only did that, wrote that book, is because I didn't think I was going to survive. And I believe I had mentioned this story before, but so I'll make it short. Where a hit was put out on me, my husband, and my children, and I felt as though if we didn't make it, and my children did, and if I ever had grandchildren, I wanted them to know about me because I'm the only person that can tell them about me. So that's the reason why that book was written, and it was just published just so I can give it to them. But I didn't know it was going to take off, and it did, and I was happy with it. But I moved on. Some people may say you got the writing bug, but I wouldn't call it the writing bug. I would say that it was me moving from one category to the next, from one part of my life to the next, and that's where the journeys of Stacey F came in, and that was writing children's books on foster care and adoption. Because many people will say that I want to be a foster parent, I want to adopt a child, and they're hearing from other people, oh, how easy it is, and all you have to do is this, and all you have to. So I wrote a book that made it easy and generic for anyone who is thinking about being a foster parent, which I hope people are opening up their homes to foster children in a way that they need to be fostered and to show your love towards these children because they're going through a hard time right now. They're all traumatic because their home was disrupted. They were separated from their homes. So I did different parts of the book. She named me Stacy. That's when she first came into care. A temporary home for Stacy. That's when The homes are supposed to be temporary, but sometimes children come into foster care as newborns and they don't leave until they're aged out at 21. And that's a hard journey for a child to take. But then I did Stacy F. My Forever Mommy, where she was adopted and she found a forever mommy. So wherever you're at, and whatever stage you're in the process of being a foster parent or an adoptive parent, you can pick up any one of those books. And you could do that with the child that's coming into your home because a lot of children that come into your home, and they could be your relatives' children, they're still a little standoffish because they don't know what's going on. And for social workers, the coloring book, the Stacey F. coloring book, that book should be used. Well, I would hope that you would use it when you're engaged